Weekly forecast June 12 to 18, 2023 new moon. Inspired or lost? Greetings, I am Batool astrologer presenting you the weekly forecast commencing on Monday, June the 12th. This is the last week before the next new moon cycle. The new moon shifts our priorities to a new area, a new focus in our lives. It's going to be on Saturday the 17th in the sign of Gemini, and so the last week before the next new moon is a period of wrapping up the promises and the lessons triggered with the last new moon, which would be about 3 weeks ago in the sign of Taurus. It can be not only wrapping up or bringing closure in some cases. Some of you may have already got the closure. Then sometimes the last week before the new moon is like waiting game. It's like, alright, what's next? I'm waiting, I'm feeling promising, but nothing's happening. So you should not begin important new projects or events in the week before the new moon, because the energy is winding down. You should not start on the new moon but right after that. So I would say that Monday, June the 19th, is when the energy is increasing, it's expanding and moving forwards. Now before I break down what else is happening each day this week, if you enjoy these kinds of videos and would like to see more of them, click like and subscribe, and don't forget to click on the notification bell so you can receive the latest postings. Alright, on Monday, June the 12th, the moon that sets the public tone is in fiery, ambitious, courageous Aries. It's actually a good sign to start the new week, except this would be best if you're getting really excited to wrapping up old projects of the past. And from about 6 to 8 a.m. Pacific time, that moon in Aries is in harmony with ambitious, assertive Mars. Mars is the planet associated with Aries, so to have the moon in Aries comfortable in harmony with the Mars, there's a lot of focus, good high energy to move forwards. It's a really good period to really start the week and to maybe finish old projects of the previous month. Tuesday, the moon continues in Aries, but it's going into earthy Taurus at 11:31 a.m. Pacific time. For those next 2.5 days, the public reaction when it's in Aries is more restless, busy, let's get going, let's take risks. When the moon once a month then goes into Taurus, it's like, let's slow it down, let's monetize what we got started, let's calm all this anxious, excited energies. But just prior to the moon going into Taurus, maybe around from 10:30 certainly to 11:30 a.m. Pacific time, the moon will be in the last degree of Aries, and the moon will be forming a square or this internal push to Pluto. The moon with Pluto, there could be a lot of this compulsiveness, power struggles, intense emotional reactiveness. But as the moon goes into Taurus, at 11:31 a.m. Pacific time, then there's this need to focus, calm down and get into a more steady routine. Wednesday, as the moon continues in earthy, persistent Taurus, the moon by mid-afternoon will be in a square or a hard angle to fiery, ambitious Mars. Now that could trigger some ego disputes, some anxiousness, some upsetting surprises, but on the other end of the spectrum, if you direct the energy in yourself, there's a lot of energy here to get busy, get active, let's start going after our new goals. But in Taurus, it's in way of slow and steady wins the race. Thursday the 15th, as the moon continues in steady Taurus, it will be going into Gemini 6:45 p.m. Pacific time, so the most of the day, for most of the world, that moon is still keeping us grounded and focused and persistent in Taurus. When it goes into Gemini, it brings in a lot of mental restlessness, busyness, brainstorming ideas, but Mercury is the planet associated with Gemini. Mercury is the planet of information, communications, news, agreements, discussions. On Thursday the 15th, the communication Mercury is forming a hard angle to restricted controlling Saturn. Now emotionally, because the Mercury is what is on our mind, in intention, with Saturn, a lot of people are more prone to worrying, taking more of the negative possibilities when it comes to conversations, communications, meetings, discussions. With the Saturn, you could be feeling like you're not being heard, you're being frustrated that you're not getting what you were expecting, but remember, this too shall pass. When on Friday, the 16th, the moon continues in Gemini all day, so there's a lot of this conversations and ideas and restlessness. That moon in Gemini will cross over Mercury. The moon crosses over every planet once a month, and on Friday, it's crossing over Mercury, but Mercury is the planet associated with Gemini, so this coming up 1 to 2 p.m. Pacific time could really be triggering a lot of ideas, communications, good for meetings, good for writing, good for speaking. On a more personal level, you could be analyzing, thinking, talking about your feelings or your past, really thinking about your childhood or past events. But by mid-afternoon Pacific time, now the moon is in harmony with loving, compatible, compromising, peace-seeking Venus. That moon to Venus mid-afternoon could be very favorable for socializing, for attending entertainment, creative events. It's really favorable for feeling good, harmonious, at peace. On Saturday the 17th, now we have the new moon, and the new moon is in Gemini, but this is a really powerful day. Not only is it the new moon, but taskmaster Sirius Saturn is going retrograde. Now it may not be impacting your chart, but the Saturn is stopping and retrograding at 7 degrees of Pisces. If it's 7 degrees of Pisces, if that's impacting your chart, you could be feeling this intensity or even this worried, some restrictedness because of the Saturn. But Mercury, the ruler of Gemini, is going to be in harmony with Venus. Now Friday afternoon Pacific time, the moon was in harmony with Venus, very good for feeling harmony, cooperation. On Saturday, the new moon is going to include Mercury, the ruler of Gemini, in harmony with Venus. That could indicate thinking, talking, discussing, but really thinking and talking about you, your personal life, your love life. This is also very favorable creatively, and with Mercury being more mental energy, this might be really favorable for creative design, creative writing, expressing yourself musically, and this new moon is going to be in a hard angle to Neptune, and so over those next several weeks, the new moon which is compelling you to focus on what Gemini impacts in your chart, but it's also in a hard angle to nebulous, foggy, confusing Neptune. Neptune, in some ways, is the higher vibration of Venus, and here's the new moon in Gemini, Gemini ruled by Mercury, and on that day that we're creating and setting up the new moon, the Mercury, the ruler of Gemini, is in harmony with creative loving Venus, and Neptune in some ways, is the higher vibration of Venus, so it can be highly creative, triggering an unconditional love, the imagination, wanting to make a difference in the world to help those in need, all that good stuff of Neptune. But you got to be careful and stay conscious, because the weaker side, the frustrating side of Neptune that's impacting this new cycle for the world, that Neptune could be your spelling loss, confuse. I thought I knew where I was going with my goals, and now I'm not so sure. One of the best ways to channel this energy more constructively is, Neptune is about helping others in need, so if you help somebody else, it can really help you get you out of your own negative thinking. But on a more individual level, Neptune can be meditation, spiritual practices, yoga, or on another level, the Neptune can mean music, anything inspiring and creative. From the creative to the spiritual, if you can really focus your attention on those areas, it will help clear up any fuzzy, confusing thinking. On Sunday, now the moon is in emotional nurturing Cancer, and for those next couple of days, the moon in Cancer is going to be in harmony with Jupiter and Saturn, around 6-7 p.m. Pacific time. Because Saturn in itself could be restricted energy, but the moon's in harmony with the Saturn, and it's in harmony with Jupiter, and Jupiter and Saturn are in harmony. That's because it's the Jupiter and Saturn will be forming an exact sextile on Monday the 19th, that brings in a lot of economic growth and stability for the world, and for us individually. If that Saturn-Jupiter is impacting our chart, we could feel more secure and more grounded, but for the world, that moon that sets the public tone, we may be emotionally feeling more solid and confident. The moon moves about 12 degrees or 15 degrees a day. The sun moves 1 degree per day. Now the sun is at 27 degrees of Gemini, forming an exact pressure point, square to the Neptune. So everything I said in the positive and how to direct all that Neptune energy, the most productive, compassionate, loving way, is even more intensified on Sunday. So Saturday and Sunday would be ideal if you're into spiritual practices or creative projects, inspiration, charity, and if you direct the energies in those areas, you're going to feel much more fulfilled and uplifted. I want to thank you for watching. Until next week, be safe and well. It will be an honor if you will subscribe my channel, as it helps me to grow my channel. Thank you.